can't believe this is how we're gonna be starting the video. Really, Jupiter? Hey guys, hope you're doing well and having a wonderful day wherever you are. I've got a little coffee and I thought, why not, since it's been 3 months, do a little reflections on moving to Australia. For some context, I've come over from the UK and I've been living here in Noosa in Queensland for the 3 months that I've been here. I thought I could break it into a few different parts, so things I've absolutely loved about living here, some of the culture shocks that I've gone through, things I wish I knew before I took the leap and moved here. I did write down a list of everything that I wanted to cover, so let's crack on with it, starting with the things that I love. Of course, the best thing about Australia, coming from a slight coffee snob, is the coffee. It's absolutely wonderful here. Consistently great, no matter where you go. Every coffee shop just serves decent coffee. However, I do find it bizarre, I guess this counts as a culture shock, but basically everywhere just serves white coffees. Even though they'll call them a latte or a flat white or a cappuccino, the only difference between any of those is the cappuccino will have some cocoa dust chucked on top of it. The other thing I've loved about moving here, not counting Jupiter even though she's wonderful, is just the wildlife. So many of these animals that I've seen and have had to experience I've never seen before in my life, and has only seen them in zoos, or they're actually exotic pets in the UK, a lot of the reptiles and the amphibians that are around here. It's crazy to see them in their natural habitat, such as like dolphins, turtles, koalas, kangaroos, like the little blue-tongued lizards in the national park. And every time I leave my house, I always see a new kind of bird, like a parakeet or a cockatoo, and hear different bird song waking up every day. It's really crazy, but it perks me up hearing the sound of the little crickets outside as well in the evenings. It just brings me so much joy, something I never really would hear in the UK. I feel like this is a no-brainer, but the beaches. The beaches are fabulous here, always consistently good. It's like Cornwall on steroids for anyone who's been there. Just endlessly sandy and for some reason squeaky. I don't know whether the sand is super fine or something, but it constantly squeaks when you walk on it, which I've never experienced before moving here. I love going to the beach, I love spending time there connecting with nature. It's just something that's on my doorstep and there are endless ones to choose from, and I cannot wait to go and explore some more. But Australia just has the best beaches of any country I've had the pleasure of visiting. So many people are going to be happy that I'm saying this, that are watching this, but Australian people are just some of the most kind, funny, genuinely thoughtful people that I've met. They seem to have a very laid-back attitude, no matter the industry they're in. Just their approach to life seems a little bit slower and taking every day as it comes, a lot to do with grounding, moving your body, being out in nature. I think there's a lot of woo-woo practices, as I like to call them, that a lot of the people here just seem to do in their everyday lifestyle, even if they don't mean to. Consistently just some of the nicest people I've ever met in a country. And granted, I've never been in another country other than England for as long as I have been in Australia, but genuinely the Australian people, I cannot recommend more to come and surround yourself with. I'd say the affordability is a thing I love about living here. Now, a lot of people are going to say to me that Noosa is one of the most expensive places to live in Australia, and it is. However, the rental prices in comparison to London or even similar residential areas in the countryside, especially near the sea in the UK, unless you're up north, I'm paying a third less than what I was paying for in rent in my other places that I've been staying in when I was living in the Cotswolds in England. And even then, a lot of my friends from London have been surprised by the cost of living here. I would say food shops cost about the same, but everything else is just significantly cheaper. Getting a coffee out in the UK will cost me 2 to 3 times as much as it does here, as well as pastries and little coffee shops, and you know, going to the community swimming pools, at least half the price that they would be in the UK. Obviously, the active lifestyle is something I love about being here, just being able to go out and walk, swimming, running, Pilates, yoga. There's so many different communities, easy ways to access stuff. The fact I have a yoga studio like around every corner here in Noosa is just incredible, and I love to be able to go and practice that and be surrounded by so many people who are prioritising their well-being as a physical form of exercise. I think every person I've met here at least does some kind of public sport or does some kind of working out, and I think it's just such a beautiful way to be spending your life. I would say, obviously, even though it's going in and out right now, but the sun, just the consistently good weather. Obviously you do get a few months where you can get a lot of rain, but nothing in comparison to what I've had in the UK. I don't even mind the humidity here. I'd say it's bearable. I mean, it's only ever gotten as hot as 35 degrees where I'm living, but I think I'm a bit of a lizard. I like to just lie out and just get re-energized by the sun. I photosynthesize like a plant, and I love waking up to the sunlight, because these blinds I have in my room are not blackout, so my circadian rhythm always kicks in when I wake up in the morning. The work-life balance and early rising morning culture here means that people really do live a full depth of life outside of their working hours. It means going out for walks with your friends before you even go to work, or go out and get a coffee before you come home and get ready for the day. It means being able to walk to the beach in the evening and catch a sunset, play card games, or have a barbecue with your friends. It's having that time either side, even a 9-to-5 conventional job or even something that's in shift work. It just seems a lot more open here, whereas back in the UK I wouldn't find anyone wanted to go out and do anything before work because it wasn't really ever good lighting, nothing was open as early. And yeah, like some coffee shops are open from 5:30 here in the morning, so that's something I absolutely adore about living here in Australia, is that you can have a better work-life balance in terms of activities to do before and after work. Alright, let's go on to some culture shocks. So I think this is a weird list of observations I've just had really living in Australia, so bear with if some of these are really minute and tiny. But they're just little things I've noticed since moving here. I wouldn't say anything's been a real culture shock, but this might be amusing to some people, so here we go, I guess. Barbecues. Now, you're probably wondering, Isabel, why barbecues? And I'm saying they don't look how I envision them looking. Like they're these covered stainless steel things, not with the little grill lines on them, and a lot of them are free and open to the public. Time zones. I didn't realise that, okay, this sounds a bit dumb, but like, I knew how big Australia was, right? But I didn't even think of the scale of it in terms of different areas of Australia are going to have their own time zones for daylight savings, not having daylight savings. And realising that my friends in Melbourne are an hour behind me is crazy. Like, it didn't even cross my mind. And I think that was a bit of a culture shock because we don't have it in the UK, but yeah, it's not something I really even thought about. I've written down slang general words, so like chips, thongs, lollies, boardies. I had no clue what any of these meant before I came out here, and it took me a really long time to get used to having those. Like, they don't call sweets, they call them lollies, even though lollies are meant to be something on a stick, like sweet on a stick, like Chupa Chups or something. Either way, why are you calling them lollies? And I guess part of that as well is nicknames. Especially Australians, you all seem to give nicknames that are very bizarre to your friends, and yeah, we all have nicknames back home, like maybe condensed versions of their name. However, these just seem really out of pocket and require a lot of backstory and detail, but I kind of love it. It's a cool way to get to know someone when you're trying to understand why they got given the nickname they've been given. Okay, this one's gonna bug me. Card surcharge. Why is it a thing? I don't want to be paying like 2 to 5% per transaction, and then they charge sometimes 10% on Sundays. Why? Like, it just doesn't exist in Europe, and I think it's silly, and I understand why people pay in cash a lot of the time, but it's really inconvenient having to pay that card surcharge. So yeah, and on the subject of change, someone riddle me this, alright? Why is everything priced $19.99, $15.99, when the lowest change you can be given in physical cash is 5 cents? My boyfriend explained it to me being like, oh, you just round it up or down to the nearest 5 cents. But it means that the consumer or the business is either constantly gaining or losing additional money. Like, I get it with card transactions online, but still, when you're going to a supermarket and you're paying for something, why would you price it 99? Wouldn't you price it 95 or 05 or just the whole dollar? Does anyone understand what I'm talking about here? I don't think I'm doing a good job of explaining it. I'm just baffled. Ooh, okay, this was a weird one for me. It was, you have to park your car in the direction of the traffic, which I love. In the UK, you can just park your car in whatever direction you want. So if you're on the left side of the road, you can park your car reversed so the bonnet's kind of looking at you from that side of the road. But in Australia, you've got to line them all up. I might need to pull up some reference images here, but still, very cool. I like it. It makes a lot of sense. But it probably will catch some people out if you're driving over here, so keep that in mind. Weekend rates / casual contracts. Way more common here. Weekend rates, amazing. Often it's like time and a half or time and like a quarter. But how cool is that? Sundays or Saturdays you can be paid more. I know this one's specific maybe to Queensland, but no alcohol in the grocery stores. Originally was a little bit annoying, but I think it was just getting used to the difference, and I like that additional layer of inconveniencing yourself to go out and get alcohol. For some reason, again, this could be a Noosa thing, cold water doesn't come out that cold of the tap. It's like lukewarm or maybe slightly cool, but it's not cold. And I'm maybe thinking like the UK has naturally very cold water under the ground as a cold country, but still, cold. No cold tap water. I'm constantly filtering it and putting it in the fridge just so I can have a bottle of cold water. That's my rant over about the water system here. Things that I wish I knew before I moved here. I don't know why I said it like that. But first one, career. If you're wanting to continue it, really hard to do on your working holiday visa. Anyone who is working a high profile career job and you're just going to come over here on a working holiday visa and hoping that you might be able to get a job really quickly, maybe just consider you might have to do some hospitality work, which super easy to find. I really recommend, if you're going to come out here, have your hospitality CV ready, or your retail, or those like more common jobs, especially tourism jobs, have them printed out before you come, and you can just come give your CVs or resumes out to those companies directly. So just be prepared, you might need to work and do something a little bit different to what your career is before you can find a company that can sponsor you, or a company that's willing to take you on for 6 months on a contract. You will find your feet, you will find your way, but don't come out here with a really high expectation that you might be offered something really quickly. Just from my experience, it might not be the case for everybody else, but just from what I've learned from moving out here, it's good to come out with those expectations. Also, when you're applying for these jobs, try and get your TFN ready as early as you can. It's like the Australian tax file number, and that you can only do when you've actually landed here and you've got your address. But I recommend as soon as you've got somewhere permanent you're living, just get on, get it done, because you can only really tend to start working for an employer once you've got your TFN sorted. So having it already done before you're even giving out those resumes will do you the world of good, and you can always drop it on your resume as well to show you have it. One of the things I wish I knew is that I would fall in love with living in Australia, and it would only make my relationship with my friends and family back home harder to accept, that I won't be seeing them as often. I didn't know until I came out here what I would really think and feel, and even still being here for 3 months, I would say I'm in the honeymoon phase. However, I don't really think Australia is going to be a place I'm going to want to leave anytime soon, and having to accept that has made me a little bit upset about how little I'm going to see my friends and family. Christmas here was even better than I thought it would have been. And I know it sounds weird, first solo Christmas, so it was a bit of a weird one. However, it was really a good life lesson into what Christmas actually really does mean and what I hold dear to me. And a lot of that is opening my presents with my family, seeing their reactions, getting to eat a meal with them and play little games. And yeah, it's not about so much the day and all the activities on the run up to it. I really just miss my time and traditions with my family, and I'm so thankful for FaceTime to be a thing, as that really saved me during the Christmas period. But yeah, it made me more grateful to realise how special those moments are with your family, and it's only maybe when you've walked away from those situations or you don't have it anymore that you realise how much you'll miss having those times together. Be prepared to have some temperamental friends. By temperamental, I mean a lot of people that are our age that are travelling through Australia, or even people I've met here in Noosa are going to stop for a few months, earn, and then leave. I haven't really made many friends here that don't have plans to leave in the immediate future or near to close future, and a lot of Australians that will be my age probably won't be out here in little surf or touristy towns. They'll be off doing things with their career, and as someone who's very career based, I don't think it's going to be the kind of place for me to find those people, and I'm content with that for now. But I think it's important to know, if you ever are coming out here and want to make sure you have those friendships, just be prepared. A lot of them might be transitional. You will find your people with some time, and I think people who are Australian here often have their own friendship groups, and it's harder to break into those friendship circles. But give it time, persevere, you'll totally find your people. And I think a big lesson I had to learn moving out here is that when bad things happen, you need to know how to handle it on your own, because there's not going to be anyone here for you. There's not going to be anyone necessarily a phone call away in the middle of the night when they're sleeping and you're dealing with something in person here. I think it really gives you this new layer of independence, and something I wish I knew before coming out here was that I had the toolkit to do it. However, it's something I think people should take some time to reflect and think upon. Are they ready to support themselves if things go badly? Of course, you'll still have your support network back home. However, are you going to be okay with not having someone you can get hold of instantly when something goes wrong? Are you going to be okay waiting a few hours so you can speak to someone about something? I think that's something I wish someone had given me a reality check on before I moved here. I think the last one I wanted to touch on was all the sacrifices I had to make to get here. By that I mean leaving my very stable job, taking the risk when I hadn't even visited Australia before. I think you got to understand that these big moves you can make from the UK will come with downsides as well as all the upsides of living here. Of course, I've had to leave my family at home. It's going to take a huge amount of hope, resilience, trusting in yourself, letting go of expectations and letting go of control, and that's something that I think I wasn't anticipating being as big as it's felt, and I'm so grateful I've done it. I think it's like leveled me up as a person, helped me grow even more, but I think it showed me I'm even more adult than I thought I was, whereas I feel like I'm still a teenager internally. I don't know if anyone else in their early 20s feels that way too, but yeah, it was definitely a learning curve. My camera was just overheated and subsequently shut off, so I'm going to wrap up the video here. I'm going to crack on with finishing filming my vlog and packing, because that's what I'm doing today, and this was my little intermission coffee break, so I'll catch you in the next video. Appreciate you guys being here, and drop a comment if you have any more questions about my move here or anything I didn't cover that you'd find interesting to hear more about, and I'll try and answer you as soon as I can. But for now, I'll catch you when I've moved to my new place. Bye!